topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart.
Hello and welcome to It's Your Voice, this show that hosts enriching conversations in diversity. My name is Bahia Yaksan. I'm a core alignment coach, an emotional wisdom training specialist, and a diversity educator. If you'd like to see some of the programs I design and coordinate with agencies and organizations that are interested in looking for really effective ways to communicate across differences and interrupt microaggressions, and rather than canceling people out, developing rapport and relationship building so that we can work towards resolving controversial conflicts, because it is possible. Not always, not with everyone, but it's really, really worth the effort to reach across differences. And I have a specialty in training people to learn how to feel confident and learn how to do that effectively. And I have a website if you're interested in checking that out. It's called knowwhatyouvantcoaching.wordpress.com, and you can contact me there if you're interested in some of my programs. And remember, I can tailor design them to your organization. I also offer one-on-one individual coaching. So tonight, the show is really special for me because as anybody who's been following me knows, I had the great honor of volunteering in Nepal with the U.S. Peace Corps. And I lived in Nepal for 3 years. And the people were so kind to me no matter which part of the country I was in. I traveled a lot as part of the job and learned a great deal. I really believe volunteers benefit much more than the receiving country. But I did my best. But I just want to say I have a guest who is from Nepal, who I met in California, who has a very interesting story. I haven't even heard it all myself. And I would like to give some background, help set up the context before Rabindra Pandey shares his story. And Rabindra, thank you so much for being willing to spend time. I know you're very busy, and I'm so happy that you are practically a neighbor. Sorry, there's a fly buzzing around me for anybody who's on camera. So Rabindra was situating on, he'll be on soon, I believe. And some of the background is, hi there.
Hi, namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate your time. I love your country. I love the language. I still have a few phrases, but as you know, I've lost my fluency. But again, I really appreciate your time. And I just wanted to share with the listeners and viewers that you are currently operating a grocery store, and you've been and run that business in different locations. And but some of your background, I'm so sorry, I have this fly that's buzzing right around my face. It's very annoying to me. But I wanted to share with people that you studied law in Nepal.
Yes.
And you decided you did a couple of cases as a Nepalese attorney. And then you had a passion for politics that drew you over to becoming an activist and really getting involved with politics, right? And
Yes.
You wanted to help shift from one party, single party political system to a multi-party system. And the little sort of teaser you gave was that things did not go in the direction that you and others you were supporting hoped. And we want to know, would you like to, could you share some of the background? I think for listeners who are not familiar with the 10 years of the kind of Maoist, insurrection that started in 1996, would you like to give some of the context of what was happening before you bring in your specific story?
Yeah, I born and grew up in eastern part of Nepal. It is all mountains, and it is surprisingly like unbelievable for American people to believe that I was already big when I see the motors, bicycles, and there were not even the radios on every homes.
Mm.
Fortunately, radios we used to listen news, and by listening the news, those things, I was interested in politics, like how does this work, all these things. And when I finished my 10th grade and I come to a city for further study, and then I joined the law school. And right then, back then it was a king rule under one party system, or there is no party system. The king was ruling the country, and then I was somehow getting touch with people who were against that kind of regime, and I was just attracted with that kind of philosophy, that multi-party system, human rights, people rights, all those kind of thing. And it was late 80s and early 90s. The East Europe was falling, the communist regime was falling, uh, USSR breaking down, all those interesting international politics was going. And I was a young, curious student, and we studied everything. Meanwhile, a party called Nepali Congress lead a movement, and they started to come to the street protest to restore the democracy, asking for the democracy multi-party system to the king. And I was a student. We were actively participated. We throw stones, we blockade roads, we stop transportations, all kind of thing, whatever they told from the higher command. And we did all those things. And I don't know what date in Gregorian calendar, but in our calendar, it was 2046 Chaitra, which is month 12, 26 night, the democracy restored. Restored means we had a democracy years back, and the king put all those leaders in the prison and he started to rule. That's why I'm using the term restored. It was, there was a democracy before. And yeah, that's how I, I got into the politics. Once I finished my education on law degree, I did couple cases, but I was more into the politics by that time. But our leaders did not fulfill the dream, did not fulfill what they have said, and there come a huge frustration with the government at the same time. Then the communists came out with Maoist. They were called Maoist, and their formula, I don't know how to translate in English, but controlled the countryside and do the blockade or whatever, and then control the city. That was their formula. And
they were a party. They were a party with a militia, and
yeah,
identified as guerrillas, like
guerrillas, militant. They called Jana Yuddha, which I think word-wise translate as a people's war. And what they started was killing those more educated people on the countryside if they don't listen them, extorting, capturing their properties, and and slowly they attack to the police officers on the countryside. Later on, they even attacked to the army post. Yeah, all that happened. They started in 1996,
Mm-hmm.
and
were you there? Were you there then? Were you still active?
Yeah, I was active on Nepali
Po-
Nepali Congress Party, which is not
Okay.
communist. They are one
Yes.
term does social, but it is not like communist social, but partial economic socialism, politically multi-party and freedom. Like let's say European system. If you know Billy Brandt and Socialist International,
Hmm.
Nepali Congress was influenced by Socialist International movement, and one of our leader was one of the founder of the Socialist International.
Hmm.
Uh, his name is BP Koirala, and he's still the biggest political figure on Nepal for the
Hmm.
whole. Still, he's dead, but yeah. And communists came. Then after every every situation was flipped. Nothing went right. Then after, and there are a lot of stories that brought me here. I was still on the countryside, doing organization, campaigning for the party, all those things. And these communists, not the militia, but the communist party cadres, they came few times to my house. We
Hmm.
have a culture that whoever comes in our house, we offer water, tea, or like even lunch, dinner, depending on the time and your situation.
Yeah.
So
Very generous.
we offer those things too, and they discussed, and none of those communist cadre were capable to convince me why the people's war, so-called people's war, was valid, why it was needed, and every time practically I defeated them. They were upset, and one
But they
day,
were they were trying to draw you onto their side. That and you were clearly not convinced that that form of
yeah,
communism was the right, and you knew they were being violent. So, and they were getting upset because they could not persuade you to
right.
join them.
I challenged them, convince me, or I'll convince you,
Hmm.
and we have better points. Like communism was failing from everywhere, and why you want to bring this garbage system? It's not gonna work. And they didn't have much argument. But all they were saying was it is a country of poverty. There are a lot of poor people. We have this multi-party system, but it's still the same class of people are ruling.
Hmm.
None of the poor people are not getting there. Singadarbar is our parliamentary building, and they say nobody get into the parliamentary on Singadarbar.
Yeah, Singapore.
Yeah, all those rich people, all these higher class people who were ruling on the previous regime, they are the same people. So we need to change it. That's why we need to do it. And I was like, no, you have the vote to change it. You don't have to come up with the gun, you know. And that was the thing. The last day they say, we'll see. Okay. And they left. It was about 9:30, and it is feels like midnight in Nepal. There is no electricity, and 9:30 is way late on the after sun.
Yeah.
And that day I was sleeping upstairs, my mother was downstairs, and it is a offensive word, but we have a servant. That's how it translates. House helper, permanently staying our home, and she was downstairs with moms, by moms, and my dog started to bark
Hmm.
very strongly.
Hmm.
Then I went to the window and looked, and few lights, the flashlight,
Hmm.
are approaching to my house. And I knew they were mice because they have told me we'll see
Hmm.
what what they have done before on other places. And by the time there was not enough time to get down and open the main gate, so I just jumped from the window.
Wow.
And that day I left the home. Since then, I've not gone back there. So,
And hopefully your family was not harmed.
no, they killed my dog. They shoot my
Oh.
dog. They not they literally didn't beat up my mom, but they wanted to seize her keys and everything. And she was fumbling; she could not find. It was a night time too, so she got pushed, a little bit bruised, and they got her keys and took some assets, some gold, her jewelry, some cash too. But I found out that way later, and I spent that night, most of the night, on a forestry area. Then I went to a we called like a brotherhood, same last name, like seven, eighth generation far cousin in his house, and he suggests, "Don't stay on my place. They will kill me too. You rather go to the district headquarters." And then I rushed to the district headquarters, and early morning I reached there, and I went and see the police officer, and they say we cannot protect everyone individually.
Mm.
Unfortunately, we have to protect ourselves. They are attacking the army post, police post too. So it is better for you to escape. And
Mm.
from there, I came to the Kathmandu, and after certain time, I collected some document, and honestly, I was able to fool the American government that I'm a tourist to America, and I escaped to the America. And as soon as I got here, and I become asylum. Yeah. So uh,
Wow. So intense. How long? How many hours? So was it all by foot, or but between your jumping out the window from your house and spending the night in the woods in the forest, and then
on
going to your cousin's house, and then going to the district office, and then going to the airport? How many hours or days passed between when you had to leave your home and actually be able to leave the country?
I exactly don't remember how many days to the airport, but that night I clearly remember. I spent about an hour on, you know, how our mountain house and all those corns on our land, on the cornfield, there was a corn. And then after, I went to the cousin's house, and I believe it should be around 2 o'clock when I reached in his house. It was an hour and a half, his house. And then it was opposite from the district headquarters too. And then I rushed to the district headquarters. By the time I get on the district headquarters, it was, I believe, 6:30 to 7 ish. It was about the sun is about to come out. It was pretty bright when I get to the police office. And
Mm.
4 or 5 days later, I left the district headquarters. When I went to the district headquarters, that is a small town, and our party office is there. There are several other party people, and we called Mamali. My father's mom side families are on that town too. So I stayed on their home few days, and as soon as I was able to arrange a ticket to Kathmandu, plane ticket,
Mm.
I left Bhojpur. So I think it was within a week all that happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but in Kathmandu, I stayed another 6 7 months.
Okay.
My brother was a job holder back then there, and I stayed with him. And mom was there, and there was no telephone, no communication, but there was a some we called PCU. I don't even know the full form, but shortened telephone line, and you could leave the message, and they will invite these people, and you would talk. And Saturday there used to be the farmers market type of thing. A lot of people from my village used to be come there too, and
Mm.
I talked to them, and I asked about my mother's situation, and she was unknown, but I have sent all the messages. And yeah, when I come to America, and about 2 years later, we brought mom to Kathmandu too with my brother. So she's still there.
Wow. Oh, I'm glad she's okay. And your brother's okay.
Yeah,
And
brother is okay. Brother never went there. Funny thing, 4 5 years ago, they called my brother. No, it is more than 5 years now. When the Maoists come to the mainstream politics, and some of the district level Maoist people called him and invite him on the field to take our land back. And my brother said that they're inviting, and I told them that all the land is there. You guys didn't take it anywhere. You didn't ask me when you seize it, so I don't have to be there to take it back. Just leave it there. I told him that's what he told. He even didn't go.
that was smart.
Yeah.
Well, did they pinpoint you specifically because you had a leadership role, or did they try to go after other people in your party? Yeah.
Later on, when I was in America, 3 or 4 years, 3 4 years later, uh, my mom has arranged someone to stay in the home, and these people came and they try to say we have those safe, heavy metal safe. They try to break that, and somehow the army found out the Maoist rebels are there, and they attack in my house, and one person got killed in my front yard,
Mm.
and another person got killed about 150 meters far from my house.
Mm.
Exactly like that. When later on I heard like where they were shooted, two people got killed in my house area too.
Wow, were they the Maoist people who were killed?
Rebels,
They're killed by the Nepalese army.
Nepalese army, yeah, they were
So the
killed.
Nepalese army and the Nepalese police had to counter the violent attacks that the Maoists were carrying out all across the country, right?
All,
In different pockets.
it started from the eastern side called Rolpa and Rukum. It started from there, and later on they did the ceasefire and they make one 12-point agreement they called in New Delhi in
Mm-hmm.
mainstream open politics. And the ironic thing are the communist leaders are the richest people in the country now.
Yeah, isn't that? I'm just checking on my phone because my good friend Kathy Shrestha is, she's still very fluent in Nepalese, and her husband Suman is from Nepal. And she texted me saying that it's interesting fact that the former head of the Maoists, Prachanda,
Prachanda, yeah.
is now the prime minister.
Yeah, the funny thing is the Maoist, one time our party president, current party president, declared an award of 50 lakhs or 50 crore something if someone brings the head of the Maoist Supremo. Now that Maoist Supremo and my party president are together and running the government, and they both turned into the biggest corrupted people in the country.
I was going to ask. It sounded hopeful for a minute, like that they could actually collaborate and make some compromises and work together, but it did not go that way.
No, party is not collaborated, but the government is under the collaboration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the government? Because honestly, I am very out of touch. Is the government stable right now?
No, government is not stable.
Okay.
The third party is the prime minister. The supremo of the third party is the prime minister because it is unstable. The second party and third party, first party and second party got conflict, and the third party got the chance.
I see.
The party supported the third party.
Well, it's almost ironic. I mean, because the Maoists wanted a multi-party system, and your group wanted a multi-party system, but you did not. You told them, don't do this through violence. Like in a sense, you wanted the same thing, shift of power, but you said we need to use the vote and not the gun and not your militia.
Yeah. Not by bullet, by ballot.
Not by bullet, by ballot.
Yeah. And I think that was the third time they tried to convince me. They sent couple letters too. They used to send letters, and those people, they have like pretty unique tradition. A bag with some communist papers, pamphlets, and couple people like that, and then couple people with camouflaged dress up and a red bandana here with a star and gone. That's how they they used to come.
Wow.
So
Wow. It took a lot of courage to stand up to people who were using force and using guerrilla tactics and hurting a lot of innocent people.
yeah, they use all kind of tactics. They were not still they terrorize people, but they were not like terrorists. They are political terrorists.
Right. Yeah. Say more about that, because it was, as I was reading about them, they sound like very like they were described as like pragmatic, flexible. They have a very strong militia that is willing to use guerrilla tactics and kill thousands of people, but they stay like politically organized. Can you describe that a little bit more?
I could still uh, stay there, not involving in their movement, but paying them some money or like food or those kind of thing on a regular basis. There was all kind of effort.
So they would tolerate you if
Yeah,
you rewarded them with
yeah,
material.
they would tolerate me if I would fulfill their economic demand. And the thing is, I refused everything.
You did. I'm sorry. You did what with everything?
I refused everything.
You
I
refused.
I would not support you guys because it is not the right cause to come with a gun. You guys need to give up. Go convince the people and change the ballot. You can change everything. And if you come with the gun, the war never ends. Another people will come up with the gun again.
Yeah.
And I argue them that way. And I forgot a lot of things, but I was a pretty good pundit on communist philosophy too. I have read pretty good Karl Marx Communist Manifesto, Das Kapital, Theory of Surplus Value, and through that to Lenin, their revolution, Marx, their revolution, to how the Trotsky got killed, and all those things. And they would not be able to stand on me, you know. So
Oh, yeah. You were highly educated and
yeah,
could out argue anyone who could wanted to try to convince you.
but
And you,
I was not expecting that they would come that way to kill me in the night. I was not expecting because when they come, they always have gone. When they come to my house too, they didn't use right there.
they were trying to catch you off guard.
Yeah, maybe they wanted to capture me and then showing me maybe they wanted money from my family or like they would torture me and they will scare rest of the people on the area like you will be like this too. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's why I was saying that they were not like straight terrorists. If they were straight terrorists, they would shoot me there. They had gone there
Yeah.
when they come to me.
Yes. That's a good distinction. That's interesting. And so, what is the state of your party now?
Pardon me?
What is the state? How is the party that you were leading? I sounded like you had a very important leadership role. What's their status right now?
Well, the party I work for is still the biggest party in the country by the population too, I think, and by the number of the parliament seat. We are still the biggest party,
Okay.
but all the philosophy of the party are all drained. No moral, no ethic, nothing, and they are kind of controlled by those limited. I don't know how to translate limited people that they control all the party's leader. They feed money or anything, and basically like how American politics. A lot of people believe that like a 99 occupied movement back
Yeah.
then, 1% that control everything. It is
Yeah.
like there is 1% that control all the party too. It is like that there too. And the current party president has a long history of political struggle since he was a student. He went to the jail, and back then the government put the electric shot in his tongue, so he cannot talk properly.
Ugh,
But later
brutal.
later on, he became himself kind of not democratic person. I don't know if you have read one the Nobel Prize winner book from Paul Paul S. Bach, The Good Earth. There is a there is a character who was kind of slave life,
Hmm.
and later on he got rich and rich and rich, and then after he collects several wives, and he becomes the kind of you know the crazy luxurious people elite. He turns from like slump man to there. Our leader become the same way too.
Mm.
They did not do the political change, but the leader who established our party was a great leader. His name is BP Koirala. He has a cancer, so he came here for the treatment.
Mm.
So one of the journalists asked him, "They're trying to kill you in the country because there he has several cases, and if you lose the case, and legally you will be killed, and they're trying to kill you. Why don't you stay here, be a refuge?" And he said, "I cannot do that to my people. I started that uh, uh, Democrats movement. And
Mm.
there are a lot of people. They trust me, and they are there. I cannot leave them alone, and I cannot stay here." We had to
Mm.
live like that back then, and now everything they do is for the money, like that. So
Yeah, similar to many governments that have become corrupt. I hear someone saying "Baba."
no, it is my nephew.
Oh, hello, namaste.
He's a son of too,
Son of who?
son of a refuge. His father
Oh,
was highly too. He was in the same party and the same political system.
aw.
Yeah, he knew me back home, but he was
Oh,
junior cadre. I didn't know him, but when we come,
wow.
same story. So
Wow. Hello. Thanks for showing your beautiful little face.
can you take me aside? I have to talk here. Thank you.
So can you give us some more like parallels? Like how is Nepal like America? How is Nepal not like America? And a couple people wanted to know, what does Nepal do better than the USA, and what does the USA do better than Nepal for the people?
Nepali people has better social ties still, and Nepalese people have till today's date a lot of good cultures.
Yeah.
Those are the good parts. Nepalese people are brave and honest,
Sida
but
Monte.
men and on the main time they are so honest. Everyone comes, they trust, and they fall.
They get
So
taken advantage
several
of.
times Nepalese people been lied. They always lie them. So that is the situation. And eventually, the education system is not right. Otherwise, if you go through that situation couple times, you would choose the better people for the parliament. What happens is who can spend a lot of money on the election time, they win. And when they spend the money, they have to collect the money again. and people are not still aware about that situation. They are not recognizing the better people among who is involved. So that was the better good things that we have there.
Yeah, that's the taking advantage of kind people and oppressing them is a parallel we have to the origin of America, of course, and continues stepping on the backs of others for the people with the most money. Like it's cost so much money to run, right? To have a
Yeah.
campaign,
Oh,
and then you end up
when
owing people.
when I was there, I was contested election too. It didn't cost us anything. We
Well,
go,
that's something's better.
yeah, we go on an area. It is not like here. We it is different. We go like doer to doer, and like area to area, collect people and speech. It would not cost money. We would carry our party flag. We would carry our pamphlets and
Wow.
declaration of the elections. Those kind of things. What is that actually? Not declaration. Manifesto of for the election, the programs, and just give that to the people, and just from the plain land to plain land, do a speech or whatever. And if you are hungry, one of the cadre would offer like 4 or 5 people in one house and another 4 or 5 in other house,
Hmm.
and sit and eat there and sleep the same way. That's how we used to campaign. And later on, they started to bring those paid people with better communications, better knowledge, and then other parties started to compete with them, and it started to pay them. Then everywhere, like those cattle go, and it is called masubat, means the meat and rice, like a dal bhat. It's a masubat, meat and
Oh yeah,
rice,
yeah,
and
must about.
we were feed and vote for them. And these days, elections are the biggest festival for these people. Okay, today the Nepali Congress leader is coming. Let's go eat their feast. And then next time, okay, this party is coming. Let's go eat in theirs. And next, let's go and eat theirs. It become like that. And
Marty, Marty.
so,
Well, the people are so humble and so kind. How do you think the conditions? I mean, I was there. I left Nepal in '88. I was there for 3 years, and at that time, it was called the peaceful kingdom of Nepal under King Birendra, and we saw how the poverty,
so you
and
Nepal in 88?
I was in Nepal '85 to '88.
Yeah, we restored our democracy in 1990. So 1988 was the socially it was very peaceful. Politically, people didn't have right. If you speak against that regime, they would take you to the jail straight. Other than that, it was very peaceful, undeveloped, but it was very peaceful. Yeah, I agree.
Undeveloped but very peaceful. But you couldn't say anything negative about the king or the queen.
The, back then, the current king was not too bad. He came to study in London, I think Harvard University. So, little bit of that British culture, democratic culture, that affected him. So he was open. His father was the one who wanted to control all the power. What
Mm.
was his ancestor built the nation, so that is his. Like if you have a 10-acre land you bought and you want the whole authorization on the land, his father wanted to rule the country like that. So he sees all the power from the peoples. This king was not too bad. There was one big general election was held. It was 1980, maybe 79, 80, and that was for the multi-party system or current system. And the multi-party, it is said that, I am not sure, it is said that the multi-party won the election, but all the ballot box were changed because the government was the same regime thing, and the same regime people made it win, and there was a huge chance that rest of the people wanted to revolt against the election result. But the same leader, the PP Koirala, said, if you believe in the democracy, you believe on the people's vote. If you believe the election is rigged, we can get another election. If you go to the street and if you start to the agitations, we will lose a lot of people from both sides. And whoever dies, they will be the Nepali people. And he stopped it. So that didn't happen. And after 10 years later, we restored the democracy. But he passed away on, before like 5-6 years ago, we restored the democracy.
How do you think the conditions of, I mean, and this is a big question. And again, a lot of like what they told us when we were in our Peace Corps cultural training to try to be somewhat clued in. There were, at that time, they were identified like 45 different ethnic groups, and with different clothing or different traditions, but in different languages and subgroups, and like you said, very tight knit, very tight knit communities that really took care of each other, and peaceful coexistence, and also even between the Buddhists and the Hindus, and there were some Muslims where I lived in the Western Terai, but it was so impressive. Like even some of the temples shared different, like there were commonalities in the rituals, and like even the same temple could be meaningful to people from different religions. It was just really incredible to see a place like that on planet Earth with human beings.
Okay, here is the twist. Now I'm in this great land in America, and as we all know, politically, economically, by weapons, by power, we dominate the world. We have done good things. We have done bad things too, if you honestly take it.
Yeah.
There were, as you said, mountain to mountains, different type of language, different type of culture, different type of people. But these all people lived as a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Later on, what happened was, obviously, there is always class, never end. The class will never end. And there are different classes. And for some political benefit, India was pushing certain people. You guys need to take your voice out. The same way, Scandinavian countries and America started to teach these people, oh, you are not the same thing. You are separate from this. You are not Hindu. You are Buddhist. Or you are not Buddhist. You are Hindu. You Muslim. They are dominating you. Oh, you are this kind of nose people. These people are. These all things were done by Scandinavian countries, including America, through the NGO and INGOs. And if you go back to Nepal now, you will see thousands and thousands of churches. What happened? They struggle on the poverty, and they started to manipulate people slowly, and they convince people to change the religion. They fight now. Like Mongolian people do not like the people like me. And when they start to hate us, and people like me to hate the other group, and the politics is weird. All this time, Maoists were supported by the India. They were giving all the training to the militia. And Maoist was supported by a lot of European countries. And communists supposed to do the class struggle theory, but whatever they can sell on the local area, that's what they take. They take in our area called Machkirat, means the people, Kirat means the Mongolian people. Oh, this is your land. these people seized 150 years ago just like that. You guys need to come up together and fight for your country. This is your land. You should be the ruler. Oh, you have another culture. You are not Hindu. You do not supposed to put the red tikka in the forehead. And they went to the west and they did the same thing. They went to the Tarai and they did. Oh, you guys are dominated by those people from the mountain area. They're all always the ruler and conflicted everywhere. And caste-based war also started within the Maoist time. And once the Maoists came on the mainstream, and then this thing came out.
So external influences.
I might be wrong. That's how I look. How the Onmin who worked to settle the communists on the mainstream, how they act and work there before their legacy, their equipment, everything. And there are a lot of visual proof. The Indian army was giving training to the Nepalese army, and on the same field they were giving the training to the militia too.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, and the old divide and conquer, and sad to break up the brotherhood, so to speak. Like, just tragic.
Still, a lot of people understand the situation and they believe on the brotherhood. Like as you told earlier, all the Hindu people celebrate the Buddhist festival. They go to the Buddhist temple. All those Buddhist people celebrate the Hindu festival and go all the Hindu temple. If you look in America, this person, if goes to that church, he would not go to the next church right next to it. He just goes one church. We have like all open. They go everywhere. We have that kind of culture. It's still on social level it is there, but there are a lot of people that are trying to separate the community still
and exploit.
Yeah,
that's wonderful to hear. And we just have a couple minutes left, and thank you for emphasizing the social network and the social harmony and the social bond, and like the deeper open-hearted understanding is still very understood and very there between so many people who, regardless of formal education, definitely have experienced enough to learn how exploitation separates, and a lot of people are just refusing to be separated, right? Just such loving, kind people. And I know that anybody I know who lived in Nepal feels the same way, just so impressed by the incredible human connections and open heart and open minds.
Yeah, thank you. English is my third language, so a lot of things I could not express the way I want. Maybe a few things, maybe I said was like didn't make any sense. I'm sorry about all this, but as I told you, English is my third language, and I think someone wanted to ask me what surprised when I came America. First thing when I came, looking at all those big roads, how far they go, and I look on the map, they go like east coast to west coast, and that make me wow. How was it possible? Why we cannot do this? And later on, after working a couple of years, I was still illegal, struggling. I see the best communist formula implemented in America.
Well, we have to wrap up now, but you might have to come back to tell that story.
It is short. Communist says that everyone has to give to the country according to their capacity, and the country has to provide according to their necessity. Here the government gives the food stamp to all those not working lazy people, to the needy people. So, and as soon as they can start making a little bit of money, they will not get you big. They will keep taking all the tax, and the high class people is still here, but all those middle class people are grinding on the thing. That's why I'm saying this. Okay. Thank you for me and all those listeners. If you guys have any questions or anything, you can ask through her, and maybe I can answer personally too.
Thank
And
you so much. Yes, people can contact me through my website, knowwhatyouwantcoaching.wordpress.com, and I'll relay their questions for you. Thank you for your time so much, Rabindra, and for your courage and values. And thank you to all the listeners and viewers, and to my sound engineer and producer. And may everyone please tune in next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to W4CY.com or Talk4TV. And may we all have enriching conversations in diversity this week. Namaste.
Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate